Oh. Come on out. That's a little weak out there in the audience on the applause. Just that's better. You're over there. Hey, I know you're Mr. H, but you can't take my seat. You guys do. Yeah, that's my chair. I'm sorry. That's just the way it works. All right. You ready? All right. We'll start with you, Ray. You grew up on the modifieds, and watching and racing against some of the greatest in the North, in the Northeast. Give me your connection to Ray, because it showed up on the sides of your cars. So give me that connection.
When I was early teenager, modified racing up and down the East Coast, you know, man, that were the guys to watch, right? We thought they were just supermen. And my uncle, big modified fan, and he said, look, there's a guy comes up from Richmond, Virginia with this little red coupe, and he whoops these guys with a small block. He's got a small block, and sometimes it's on injectors and sometimes carburetors, and his name's Ray, just like yours. And I was like, a driver named Ray, and I remember watching that little coupe at Trenton just whoop up on some of the guys that I thought were amazing. And when it used to be a big deal to go over to pit road there after the race, and I had to get close to that car, and I remember watching him, and my uncle said, go talk to him. And I remember shaking his hand, and he looked at me, and I thought to myself, oh my God, this guy is like the Southern gentleman, and he had a real fire suit on, like remember the shiny Nomex fire suits. He had a real fire suit, had it kind of unzipped down to about here, and it just was, just a big guy, and watched that car do some incredible things up the East Coast and go where the money was at and take the money and leave.
Yeah. Your granddad. So I want you to give me a story, something you've heard, something you remember. Tell me the story. Tell me the fire scene. Because this is a little bit. Most racers, somewhere to relieve the pressure, are jokesters. They're always pulling something on somebody. So tell me about the Firestone tire test at Martinsville.
So he was testing for Firestone tires down at Martinsville in '74, '75, and went out there, made a run, a couple runs, whatever. Came on in and told Clayton Mitchell, who they called Mitch, said, hey man, this car is making just some crazy noises, And Mitch is like, well, what is it? He said, man, I don't know. Just hop in with me. You gotta see what this. I've never heard anything like it.
So wait a minute. He wanted somebody to get in the car with him.
He wanted Mitch to get in the passenger side, sit down on the floorboard, and listen to this noise.
I would venture to say Mitch is not very smart.
No. So he gets Mitch in there, and they go on down pit road, get out on the track, and just go wide open. And he said Mitch was sitting over there and just grabbing onto those bars and just kept sinking further and further. He goes, I hear it. I hear the noise. Pull it in. And so he, comes on down pit road, gets out. And, they're like, Mitch, what was it? He goes, I don't know. I just knew I had to get out of that car because I thought I was going to die. So it was good to know, good to hear that kind of side, just that he had a little bit of joke to him. Someone that was so serious with racing all the time.
So, Rick, most people think you came around in '84. That's first time the great Rick Hendrick shows up is '84. But you knew about racing a long time before that, and I heard my man over there mention Trenton. So what's your connection to Ray?
Well, I went to Trenton several times to watch Ray. Chip Brames here tonight with his wife, Margaret Ann. And I was so young, and they wouldn't let me in the pits, and they wouldn't let her in because she was a female. Females couldn't go in.
Yeah.
And that was one trip. One trip, I rode in the back of a pickup from Norlina to Trenton in a lawn chair with a trash bag in case it rained. And so it was watching Clayton Mitchell going over to the shop in Norlina, going to watch Ray Hendrick. It's so good to meet a lot of his family tonight I've never met before. But from the time I was 8 or 10, 12 years old, I'd follow them, go to Richmond, go to South Boston, get under the truck when he and Sonny Hutchins were going to fight. And, you know, it was just so much fun back then. And just watching him, I think the night I always remember, he blew a left front tire at South Boston and ran 50 laps on three wheels and a rim.
Oh,
and,
no way.
The guy was unbelievable.
So he finished the race without a left front tire.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
And so in the first pro drag race I ran was a cam out of a McGurk roller out of the motor, out of the 11 car that Clayton gave me. So, I mean, so I go back, I mean, I owe so much of my heritage in racing to the 11, to Clayton Mitchell, Jack Tant, and those guys.
Yeah. So is that for oval track racing and stuff, is that where that love come from from hanging out with those guys?
Yeah.
How'd they treat a 12, 13-year-old kid?
Clean the floor, shut your mouth. With Clayton, it was cleaning up tobacco chew most of the time. But no, and then Clayton took me to the drag strip, Frank Edwards. I drove all the way to Littleton with Jack Tant to tune my carburetor on a '84 Chevrolet Super Sport. So they took me in, and when I started in Cup, after we were running Daytona, Clayton called me. He said, "That car's pushing. Bodine's car's pushing. You got to make the chassis adjustment."
Oh, no way.
So the first championship we won, I called them because I just was so excited to talk to them about now that I've gotten here in the sport that they brought me into.
Yeah, that they brought you into. Hey, I found it fascinating talking to you guys that the car that's here you found and you helped restore. Tell me about this car.
It's an amazing story.
It's the car that's on display here, right? It's
the
the car that's
car
on display
that's here is the car I went to Trenton, New Jersey, and Ray and Frank Edwards and Jack Tant said, "This is it." And Frank restored it. But the amazing story is Ray's went all over that car, but the motor, when I talked to Jack Tant, he said, "You know, I took that motor and put it in my truck years and years, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
It's in the floor in the shop, and you can have it." So we went back through it.
Wow.
The Hilbert injectors, the car, and I've got the truck that pulled that car back in the day.
Wow. So it's the original car all the way down to the engine.
Yes.
Wow. What was that like? Because it was a full circle moment for you, because you had watched him come up north and kick rear end with that car, and now all of a sudden you're putting that car back together.
Well, Frank Edwards did all of that and did an amazing job on it. When you see it, it's incredible. But I was so in love with that car, it made such an impression on me. And when you talk about it being a small world and the connectivity of the universe and all that, when you look at, probably Rick was there, that, you know, on one of the times that I was at Trenton, and it inspired Rick to do, Mr. Hendrick to do what he wanted to do, you know, in racing, and they set the goal or in motion for guys like Richie Evans and Jerry Cook and people like what modified racing is now. They changed the sport, and again, I fell in love with that car, and I just knew the car, and it came to New Jersey for a while, because it went when Ray, I guess, went to race for Dick Armstrong. He bought the car, took it up to Connecticut or wherever, and lots of people drove at Hop Harrington. Ron Bouchard drove the car.
Oh, no way.
And then it got sold, came down to Wall Stadium, and it became a 2 junior, and Don Stives drove it. He turned it over, but I knew it was a car. They fixed it, and they sold it to a guy named Pat Keeley, and then he sold it to a guy named Stan Wall, and then it got gone, and I was like, man, where is that car? And never could afford to buy it, but I wanted it so bad. I used to go over to Pat Keeley's and hang out at the radiator shop and look at it. And one day I saw it sitting in Martinsville, Virginia, and a man named Ken Stewart owned it. And I remember years later saying to Mr. Hendrick, "Hey, that car is in Martinsville, Virginia, and Ken Stewart's thrown me out of there 20 times for trying to buy it. Maybe he'll talk to you. So Mr. Hendrick called him up, and they made a deal, and it's been at your place now for several years, right?
Yeah, yeah. So let me ask you, and this we'll wrap up here. What's it mean? I mean, I've met all your families here. Yeah, there's more Hendricks in here tonight than there ever was Allisons, and there's a million Allisons in this world. Okay, I'm going to tell you that. But what does it mean to your family after all this time to see this? Look around the room, and you look at these banners, and you look at and Ray's here with this group.
It really is amazing just for him to be in such great company. You know, like Rick said and Ray said earlier today that, you know, he should have been in years ago and whatnot, and, you know, has a funny way of working out. But, you know, he's in now. We couldn't be more pleased and proud of his legacy.
Yeah. What's it mean to look at that car and know that is the car when you stand there?
I'll tell you what, when I look at that car he has, I'm sure it looks way better than it did back when my grandfather was driving it. That thing looks like a showpiece. But
Yeah.
It's just cool to see that, because obviously that was a time, you know, before I was born,
Yeah.
when he was racing that. So just to see where the sport has come from is really awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. Thanks for giving us a little bit there. I appreciate it more than you know. Thank you.
you.
Thank you, man.